first, let's explain exogenesis. Why the title Exogenesis?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good place to start because that is technically the beginning of our story. So exogenesis is an alternate term for panspermia, the argument that life on Earth began via processes carrying simple organisms through space, probably on comets, but possibly on dust in interstellar dust clouds, or other means. You can also have directed panspermia, which infers that an intelligence is behind the propagation of these organisms and possibly sends out small metal, containers with organic material in them, and that these rain down, onto planetary surfaces, or of course ships land and life is dropped off. So there's different ways of looking at exogenesis, panspermia. Now, there's a good reason why I suspect that that's the true story of the origins of life on Earth. Now, because the current preferred hypothesis is abiogenesis, the idea that DNA emerged out of random geological and chemical processes, and that life, came out of possibly some hot mineral rock pool somewhere, some strange anomalous type event, which we don't understand. I mean, to this day, no experiment has, been able to replicate an abiogenesis event. So it's entirely hypothetical. So equally so are the competing models, which are, of course, creationism, the idea that God intervenes and Earth is essentially a creation, life is created on Earth. And again, this is hypothetical, you can't test this. And the third one being exogenesis and abiogenesis, which suffers from some of the same problems. So there is something to say, look, we don't know for sure which one of these is correct. Now, simply the preferred one is abiogenesis. Now, why do I think exogenesis is right? I'll tell you why. It's because if we look at the beginning of this story, it turns out that the first life on this planet emerges somewhere around 4.5 billion years ago. And that's supported from two directions. You have the fossil record, where we have early organisms turning up about 4.2 billion years ago in the fossil record. And the inference there is that we are unlikely to have found the earliest fossil life, right? So we wouldn't have got that lucky yet. So if you give it 4.2 in the record, there's a good chance it goes back to around 4.5 in reality. So that's their estimate. Now, from the genetic studies, they've looked to see when was the last universal common ancestor of all life on this planet living, which they call Luca. And that this actually turns out to have been around about 4.5 billion years ago. And this is, again, estimated from genetic studies. So if you think about it, we have two lines of evidence. We have the fossil record and we have the genetics, both pointing to this event 4.5 billion years ago. The planet itself is 4.6 billion years old. So in just 100 million years, we've gone from lava, chaos, bombardment, suddenly, and life has appeared. Now, this is quite staggering. It was long thought it took perhaps 1 billion years of random events to lead to DNA emerging. Now it turns out that as soon as the planet's surface was suitable to host life, life appeared. Now, I'd say that fits much better with delivery of life from space than a long series of random geological and chemical processes.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially like, when the planet's forming, it's forming out of things that aren't the planet, that are coming from other places and stuff like that, meaning that...
Well, yes, I mean, absolutely, yes. I mean, you could say that if any of that debris that is involved in this, say cometary debris, is carrying microorganisms, again, that would be a panspermia origin for life. It would mean that those simple organisms already existed on some of that debris in our solar system and that have ended up, on the planet's surface at the right moment. Of course, it could equally be a directed panspermia, but either one of those, in either case, I think that panspermia better explains such a fast emergence of life on this planet.
So of these sort of two strains you mentioned of exogenesis, do you have any reason to favor one over the other at this point? Or
yeah, I do personally.
Directed versus non-directed? Absolutely,
yes. In my view, I think that went partly because of the speed of this. It looks almost timed with the moment this planet is suitable to host life that it appears, and I find that astonishingly convenient, and that almost highlights that there's some likelihood that it's a deliberate event. That the planet's ready, let's seed the life on there. But also because we have evidence from, I guess in my book, my research, that there is an intelligence operating in the solar system and beyond, in which case, again, that increases the chances that we are dealing with a engineered event, because there's one of the arguments in mainstream science and in SETI and in space science is that how would aliens find us? Right? Why would aliens stumble on us? In this vast universe, what's the chances of them happening upon us? Now, you could say it's fairly low if it's just through chaotic means. That they're slowly exploring the galaxy, they stumble on us. However, if they've seeded worlds and they are monitoring these worlds, then you can explain this interaction that so many people claim that they have interacted with beings or they've seen craft and all of these things, which they fit better with that model. And again, one of the reasons why these craft and events are dismissed is that chance, that the scientists say, well, what's the chance they would have found us? But they're ignoring the possibility that if the planet is seeded and is being interacted with the whole time, some shepherding from an intelligence, then yes, we would expect to see indications of that shepherding intelligence. And I contest that we do, that we see this throughout prehistory into distant, and ancient history written accounts and into the modern day. So that's why I would say that, the evidence in our recorded history points to contact, and the idea that there's a contact better fits with there being an intelligence that's already been aware of life forming on this planet. Because the only thing interesting here is life. I mean, There's plenty of planets out there. We know that now. There's billions. So why would an intelligence be interested in Earth? The only thing we have which we see as being rare in space is life. So how did they know that we're here? How do they know there's life? I think that fits better with them seeding the planet in the first place.
We do have very nice mountains.
We have
just saying, good hiking, yeah.
It's the skiing.
Welcome to the Radio Wasteland. Hello, my darling. Welcome to